Good evening, everybody. It is the show after the live show. Dr. Conor Brady, Dr. Brendan Clark, Dr. Nick Thompson. We're here coming at you through the ether.
Through the satellites. You're sounding quite husky today, Thompson.
No, I'm pretty good. This is that was me putting on my husky voice. Actually. So
recovery mode.
So
I
we've
can't
got a
see
little treat
anything,
for
lads.
you.
I
No,
can't see anything.
and you're not going to.
Brendan's
so
got
you ready, guys?
Techniques,
They're
guys.
here.
Hang on.
You just need to mute for a moment. I've got to mute you.
Oh, we
love us.
That was fantastic. Who did that? Was that Christina?
It was indeed.
Chris, thank you very, very much indeed. And a very, very big thank you to Fiona, because she put together an incredible show. Yeah, the whole show was amazing. But, it all started with that intro. And we didn't actually know what was happening. I think she had briefed us the night before, but it was like, when do we come on? So we were sitting in the green room just to the side, and it was like, and this is the moment you've been waiting for.
Yeah.
And here they are, Doctors Brady, Clark, and Thompson, etc. And then we thought, this is probably where we need to run on.
Yeah. The guy that Fiona got to do it was a radio voice as well. So he had that radio voice. I think the intro that Fiona uses is different to that intro. That's an intro that Chris put together. So for the people listening on podcasts, we're after showing a 30, 45-second reel there of a few pictures from the day that we're after doing on Saturday, the RPM live in Manchester. So actually, Chris.
So Fiona's spectacular is going to be published when we release the videos, which hopefully will come in the new year. So you guys will be able to, with a bit of editing, see some of the start bits through the whole day, as well as that intro video, because I think hats off to Fiona. It was brilliant. And
that was a serious effort, and she didn't tell us. So to kind of build the excitement, you don't get to meet people in the morning time. Normally the three of us would be floating around talking to people, but now these days you're in a green room, which sounds very fancy, but you're off to the side, and Fiona says, make sure you're looking through the window, and we're thinking, okay, Fiona, what is it? Just bring us on, let's go. We're chomping at the bit, ready to get on stage. You a little bit of nerves and you want to get moving. And so you're watching through the video, and then there's this big dramatic build up, and it's like, "Ooh, what's this?" And then on it comes on the screen, and you think, "Oh, Fiona never told us." So we got to watch this big build up for a minute or two, and then now welcome Doctors Thompson, Clark, and Brady. And then we ran in, and I followed Nick. You went your own way, Bren. I followed Nick, and then I ended up feeling like I was just running after my dad, and I wish I went through a different way. But anyway,
I was thinking about
bless you.
Somebody did a little video of us running on. And so I went pelting to the other side of the room, thinking we were going to do an SAS breach of the room, where I would go right, maybe whoever was last out, I think that was Brendan, you would go left, and Conor, you would take the centre.
Yeah,
but we hadn't actually planned that.
You should have talked about it.
And I just wanted the competitive shortest way to the stage, so I could beat Brady on there.
I think that was a good idea.
And I was thinking, because, well, 1 minute before we came on, we were thinking, oh, she's going to announce us sooner or later. We had this conversation. Are we going to run? Are we not going to run? Are we going to run? Are we not going to run? And I said, lads, we have got to run. I'm running. And I was just thinking, how's your knee these days?
Grand. I can do it. Short bursts of speed. No problem. Yeah, I know. That's no problem. That's okay. It's changing direction.
Just you're lazy.
It's pivoting is the problem when you have a dicky knee. But no, that was so the intro was great, and I like the way Fiona didn't tell us, which was it left you kind of I kind of suspected she might have had planned something. She planned a few little things during the day that she didn't tell us about, so it kind of makes it more fun when you're not quite sure. But we did have the timetable, the extensive timetable. We got a lot of stuff into that 8.5 hours. We got a lot of stuff in there. So
and you're wearing your live. Yeah,
I am wearing my live. Check it out. It's a perfect fit as well. It's awesome.
It looks a bit snug for a large. What's going on?
That's all the mince pies and free beers. But that was great.
Okay, these are available, guys. If you were there and you want one, they're available on T-Mill.
Yeah.
If you go to T-Mill and put in Raw Pet Medics, it'll probably take you there. Bren, I really loved the superheroes. Can you, for the sake of our listeners, can you describe the superheroes?
Oh,
the superhero image.
I wish I had a special memento that we got given on the last day. But there was a snapshot of a picture in, I think it was the second picture in, if you were watching closely, they'd mocked us up. Yes. So it was I thought it was one of Conor's AI things initially, where he was sticking our faces and heads on just about anything that was going at the time. I was like, oh my God, what's he doing? But I understand that Ellie had a little hand in a production of a superheroes picture with the three of us stuck our heads on. Is that right? Was it Ellie?
No, that's exactly it. She asked a certain AI bot for an image of 3 superheroes in capes with a load of dogs and cats along the front. Did you see the dogs and cats? I was so busy looking up at us thinking, oh my God, what do I look like? That initially
just because you're in pink spandex, you mean?
I was in pink spandex, and Brendan, I think you were in purple, and then Brady, I think you were in green in the middle.
I think
I was in green. Brady was in blue.
Okay. Yeah. And I was in pink.
Shocking pink.
It was my wife who did it.
She's obviously quite happy with your masculinity. So thought you could cope with a bit of pink.
Put me in the blue. Here you go. Let's see if you can see. Let's see if you can see.
Oh, let me just. I'll show it.
Hang on there a second. Window.
Tell me when you want me to share it.
There we go.
Have you got it?
Can you see that?
I should have a. Look at that.
Let's just do this.
Blow that up, just so and then we can describe it again.
It's at an angle, but I don't know who shared that. But, you get the idea.
Look at that.
Look at that.
There you go.
Quality.
Do you know what? I suddenly realised why Nick was so pro that. Because it was actually the only shot that made Nick the same height as you and me, Brady.
Oh yeah, that I did notice that.
That's right. It was just a height thing.
Don't know how she did that. Although on the original thingies. She actually decapitated the original guys on the image in order to put ours on top there as well. And for the rest of the day, I heard nothing but from Sasha and Karen and various persons saying, "Oh, Nick, you should get blonde highlights," because somehow she'd given me blonde highlights.
Nice.
They really liked
you got a
it.
streak through that, have you?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Oh, I'm gonna have to do this again, guys, just to annoy everybody.
Be
just
careful.
to see if we can actually see.
We're just going in to have a look at the picture again, and you can actually see them from there. Look at that.
You need to zoom in, Connor. You need to use your screen to zoom in on Nick's.
Okay.
I think it was just highlights over the grey. You just need to zoom in on it.
Over the grey. Yeah, they are actually grey, but the lighting was quite extreme.
Look at that,
on the highlights.
Oh, nice. Nick, you look you look awesome.
I'm not planning on doing it, but what do you think, guys? Blonde highlights? I'm not going to do it, but I'd be interested because a lot of people watching would probably have an opinion.
Yeah.
Should I go blonde highlights?
I think you could give it a go.
You think blonde highlights?
You could give it a go. And
at your age, mate, you should be going for a blue rinse. What's going on?
Yeah. and a bus pass. I know, mate. I know.
You could try it for Halloween, and if anybody says it looks nice, you could just keep it after that. You just wait, bide your time. 10 months, give yourself blonde highlights, do the whole shebang. A little maybe a scar through your eyebrow, because that looks very cool.
Oh yeah, you got to go for one of those.
Yeah,
couple of
a little tash.
Yeah. Go for like a Cruella de Vil.
Nice.
Just a single grey streak like that. But there we go. A big shout out to Kathy Grottendick, who's in New Jersey. My brother is in Summit, New Jersey. So not sure where you are, Kathy, but you are very welcome, as are all our American followers and supporters. It's fantastic. Also, a big shout out to our Patreon. You can find us on Patreon/Raw Medics, and a big thank you to everybody who follows us on the podcasts. And you can find us pretty much on most of the podcasts, because Pete, our guardian angel of the digital world, creates our ramblings into something that's vaguely coherent as a podcast. So Pete, you are a miracle worker. You are turning water into wine on a weekly basis. So
I can see. I was wondering where all the comments are on the side, but I just checked out the Facebook page and it's absolutely full of comments. There's 130, 40 comments on it already. I mean, that's it's not enough. It's great.
And all of them are saying, right, will you move on to what you talked about with dogs and cats? Actually do anything on the day other than have fun. I mean, come on, guys. You know we're all about the fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. So so the morning of the show was kind of talks, and the afternoon of the show was games. That's definitely the split we had. I think that went really well, because I think then we did short lectures. We did about half an hour each. Bren, what did you do? Give us a 2-minute synopsis of what you did.
Yeah, let's go through the day bit by bit and just take it at bits.
I found it a little stressful trying to shorten stuff into a half-hour section.
Oh yeah.
When you're so used to doing either 3/4 of an hour or an hour, just trying to go, oh my god, I need to get what I want to get across in such a short period of time.
Or an entire day.
And so it was just to give a taster of where I was at, and I think you guys pretty much did the same, but I'll let you go through what you talked about. And I think it was, for me, just a little bit of, okay, this is, ethos, this is where I'm from, this is where I've got to, this is a bit about why I think that way, and what's important about farming to me, what's important about environmental issues and contamination. I know Nick shares, some of those beliefs as well. A little bit then moving into where I'm going, and that was very much about this, stop guessing, start testing.
I like that.
And people, getting that opportunity to use some supplements that actually work and actually can be proven to work. So getting the results of that, in some of the cellular health tests, and then looking at hormone testing, where that's leading, and then just touching on the pyramid, of which I am producing a set of videos which is related directly to animals, whereas Rowan's doing the human side. So we're coordinating a pyramid of health. So building a base layer around, the routines from things to, what's going on with your lifestyle, movement, nutrition, and then hydration, which we'll come on to in a moment. And why that's important. And then the next layer, building on, further things to improve your health, and how to, many people would say, so on the base layer about breathing, people have said to me, well, how do you do that for your pets? Because you can do that for yourself. And it's like actually just being present with them, and actually how much your pets will tune into what you're doing. Even for you with Dudley, the point would be, Conor, that actually if you take the time to calm down, and you so brilliantly did this in one of your things of, why is Dudley the way he is? And everybody was turning to you and saying, because you're like that.
Oh, yeah. It's painfully obvious to everyone.
It's exactly that actually taking yourself into that zone and doing those exercises, you will not understand how quickly your pets will start to mimic that, to become in sync with what you do. And actually that passage on of that, where they're at with their health is so important in their health pyramid too. So it's a really good way of improving the whole family's health to sort of get into those zones. And there's some great stuff. And Nick, it was so great that you then went on to talk about yours, kept everybody guessing. And I think, just to, coordinate as some of the other health, imports within what we're doing. And what I'm looking at in the future with what you're doing. So, and how did you find what you went through?
Well, I was absolutely terrified. I'll tell you now, because, and I've said this to these guys, but I'll just tell you guys because it's quite hilarious. So, Fiona had said, strictly on pain of death, you can only do 30 minutes. Okay. And, we do day seminars, that slot, and so it's actually easier to do a day seminar than it is to do 30 minutes, because you've got it, it's like, what do I put in, what do I leave out, how do I run it together, how do I not sound like I'm over talking, and all that stuff. But so it's 30 minutes, but she said you cannot go over. So I actually had, because I was writing it on the train on the way up to Manchester. Okay, because I was getting ideas every half hour. I think, that would be really good to put in. Anyway, I was writing it, and I was also trying to get it into my head, because normally when I do a presentation, I do presenter view, so you can see the next slide and you can see the slide that you're on, so you can seamlessly transition into the next slide that's coming up. And I was told on the Friday night that would possibly be a possibility, but then on the Saturday morning, it was like, nope, sorry, no presenter view. So it was like, oops, I've got to remember all 42 slides. Also, I had 42 slides and 30 minutes to deliver them in. And the normal rule is 1 slide per minute, max. And I think max. And how many did you guys? You probably did, what, 18 or so?
I only had 14 this time. I think I won for the first time ever.
Yeah,
I think I had
you did the least number of slides.
Yeah.
Because the beauty of having not that many slides is that you could just breathe into that slide, and you can just talk about it, and you just think about it. That reminds me of this, and this was a good reflection, and when we were talking, there's things like this. Whereas I had a really strict timetable. I had never given this talk before. Fiona was going to shoot me if I went over 30 minutes. And so there was no real stress at all. Okay. So I came on and I was absolutely shaking like a leaf. But I then gave the talk, did my best, and it was about vitamin H. And I'll just give you, does anybody know about vitamin H? Okay. I'll give you just a few little highlights from the first 2 minutes of the talk. This is the most studied material in the world. It has 64 unique properties, and in its solid phase, for example, it has 19 different structures depending on the temperature and the pressure that it is presented with. It is used in all of biology. if we didn't have it, we would have no enzymes, we'd have no DNA, we'd have no life on Earth. And so can you guess? This was the game that I played with the audience, and I think probably 20-30% of people got it. And everybody else go, oh, vitamin H, what's that? Yeah. And so after about slide 4, I said, it's water. Okay. And we don't realize, because it's so ubiquitous, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. Because it's absolutely everywhere. It's in what you breathe. It's in most of the materials that we use. It bathes and helps construct all the molecules of life. And we just don't think about it. And I think we should more. It's a fascinating thing. I gave some books as references, and I think it was generally quite well received. And so I stopped shaking at about 2 p.m. after delivering the talk at 10:30 or something like that. So there we go. It was good. So my advice is be prepared and run through it before you do it.
It's not how we do things, Nick, is it? Let's face it.
No, well, it was pretty exciting, I have to say. But if you want to, maintain your cardiac health, I'd suggest that's maybe not the best way to do it.
Oh yeah, it's stressful. Stressful walking up, and you think, if you have it drum tight, ready to go, or if it's talk you've done before, ideally, which doesn't happen half enough. But I love that. If I've done the talk already, and I'm like, this is going to be lovely and easy. I don't worry about it. The night before is pleasant. I have a good night's sleep. I have some breakfast in the morning, maybe if I wish. All those things are very, very difficult when you've got 42 slides and unprepared talk. And of course you had it prepared, but it's still, it's daunting doing a new talk, and particularly if anything goes wrong at all. If you said you'd have the slide view and you don't have the slide view, or I was doing the RFVS and the editing shifts, so you lose it goes off the screen. It's like, anything like that is enough to throw you. But I thought it went very well. Nick, bless
you.
Yeah, I liked it.
And so I finished on water, and we talked about. There's a lovely book called Lessons in Chemistry. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it for the Christmas holidays. If you're looking for something good, or anybody, male, female, there is a dog. One of the key features is a dog, and you can hear how the dog thinks. And the way it's written is super clever. The way she gets into the dog's mind, and he's a little bit like, "Oh, you humans are so dumb. Why don't you just recognize what I'm doing?" So there is some perception of dog behavior there. So even for the dog lover of your life, I think it might be good. There's a bit of chemistry, but there's no equations. I promise you.
Shoot me in the face. Read chemistry over Christmas. That just sounds absolutely miserable. There's just no way I will be buying that, unless it's like a what's his name that does a little history about everything. Who's that guy again? Come on, Bill Bryson.
He's good.
A short history of everything. It's just wonderful. Is that the way it's written, or is it written by
no, it's a novel. It's a novel. It's a novel.
I don't want to learn anything over Christmas. That's really important. It's 1.5 weeks of not learning a thing. It's forgetting stuff.
Okay. And
you could see all of these people writing books down in the front row, everybody going, "Oh no, another book, load of books arriving." People were already saying they'd got books being delivered before they made it home. It was like
people coming home to books.
This is good, but that was a Christmas book. Yeah, it's not heavy, but you'll learn a thing or two maybe. And you'll like the dog, and it's a bit sad, and it's a bit lovely, and it did definitely well worth it. It's a holiday book though; it's fairly light, so you will be quizzed, gentlemen.
Is that the book that had a chapter on life and death and sex?
No, that was 13 Things That Don't Make Sense by somebody more.
Right.
13 Things That Don't Make Sense. Fascinating books. Talks about life. Life doesn't make sense. Death. There is the logical progression to death. You can talk about telomeres, and you can talk about oxidation, and you can talk about all these things. But when you look at it from a kind of purely kind of physics and chemistry point of view, doesn't make sense at all. And sex as well. Sex is an expensive, and I'm not just talking meals, taking people out for dinner. Sex is expensive, just energetically, biochemically, massively expensive, and there are much cheaper biochemically ways to reproduce, as the plants have discovered, and some animals.
Was that not Michael Brooks? So was it Michael Brooks?
Oh, Brooks, might be more. I was thinking more. There's a double O in it and an R. Yeah, so Brooks sounds good. Well done, Brendan. You're very honourable. 13 in figures, 13 things that don't make sense is fascinating for the scientist in your life, and for anybody who just wants a good novel, then Lessons in Chemistry is nice. Ripping. So I finished more or less there, and then Conor came on and gave a very heartwarming and personal delivery. Tell us about that, Conor. Tell us what you did.
I opened with I think we all mentioned we were going to do something about life, and Bren's was most certainly about health and life, and Nick's was the most important nutrient in life, I suppose. And then I just put up my first image as a picture of me in dungarees as a 2-year-old going, oh, I thought we were talking about ourselves. But so I laughed at myself. It made me feel comfortable though, because I knew that the first few slides would be funny. So I knew it'd be easy enough to talk. I mean, who can't talk about themselves for 10 minutes? So I enjoyed that.
Could I just say to all the parents out there, if there's one picture you don't want your child having to have for the rest of their lives,
there's worse pictures. That's about the earliest picture of me. I don't have many pictures. Do you guys have many pictures of you as babies? Was there cameras in the 80s? Because there was nobody taking pictures of me. I got one picture of me as a 2-year-old, and I think there's a picture of me outside the church in a bundle of white, towels or whatever it is, and you don't see me. White blankets, whatever you do at christenings. But
the christening gown.
Christening gown, that was it. You can't see me. So no baby.
You have a little bonnet on.
I didn't know. I'm just miles away in my uncle's arms. It's like, oh, it could be me, it could be anyone. But I think she recreated it when she realized she didn't take any pictures of me as a baby. But I talked about being the baby of 5 and growing up in a small business and having hardworking parents and all the things that distills in you. I spoke about finding school quite tedious. I didn't like school. I didn't like the lessons. I saw I was a mess. I knew I was kind of bright, I suppose, like everybody else is, but it wasn't working for me, the classes. So trudged through that, and then I went into college to do science, and I found science just so boring. I mean, the bits I love, which isn't a good start to my career of trust me, I'm a scientist, but it took me a couple of years of the hardest work to start getting into the bits that I like, life sciences, environment, biology, and then once I got back into doing that, like that was what I excelled in school, and then I did great in that, and by the end of it the degree was fine, and then onto the doctorate, and that was, so I walked people through that and told them a bit about the process and what's involved, and then going into having a small business through Guide Dogs, having a small business. So I just walked them through why I am the way I am and why I write the way I write, why I find certain things very appealing and other things less so, and so I thought that would kind of give people a little bit of background as to why I like certain things and why other things really irritate me, like big business steamrolling people and that kind of stuff. To some bits and pieces I have a problem with, and it's because of experiences in the past. I've had a bad experience when I was making my own pet food, and so some little things, and then a lot of lessons in life, just in health, so within my own family, I see the good side of pharma with dad's liver transplant, and then I see the issues when, Lyme disease struck Elaine, and how we got to the bottom of that without anybody's help, and the same again with a mental health issue with someone I cared about. So you see the good and the bad, and I was just trying to say that's just what I enjoy now. I just say there might be more, and so culminating in the book, and I told people writing the book, and how good it was that I got it out 3 or 4 years ago, because in the last while I've been thinking more and more about other stuff. And so that's what made me the person I am. And I thought that would be a decent little half hour. And I didn't think I'd have enough to talk about, but it turns out I can talk about myself all day, because by the time 30 minutes came, I was like, oh my God. I finished on telling people, which I've shown them already, showing them a couple of new things, what I've been doing for the last year, Shifting Dogs First, creating this membership website and putting all my courses up there. But now I have a couple, 2 or 3 new products to bed in next year, Power Paste, my yeast product, and it's something else. And so I gave my 1-year plan and my 3-year plan. And I just told them, this is how I make money. This is what I hope will be working next year. And the people that work with me now are in the audience, thank God, And so, I think that helped, because a lot of people there were small business owners. I spoke to a huge amount of people there afterwards, and they found it quite refreshing to hear that I struggled, I suppose. It can be quite tough to be a small business owner. And so, I thought it went down pretty well. I got a few nice chats with people afterwards, and I never share any personal stuff on Facebook. I don't do that. I don't do any sharing of social media, family stuff, never. But it's just it never appealed to me, So that felt like a bit like undressing in front of people. I was like, oh, there you go, that's me. But anyway, that was it. That's what I did. And then we went straight into, what did we do after that? We had
then we did the Feline Fridays thing.
Yeah.
But just before that, I'm just going to say a big thank you to Karen and to Cheryl and to Sasha. Yep. And again, a big thank you to Fiona.
Yeah.
So many thanks for helping Fiona to do her thing. You were her acolytes, and Ellie was helping her as well.
Eddie too,
so thank you guys. It's just wonderful when we all come together.
Yeah, and I'd also just say, Chris managed to get loads of shots.
Chris,
we've got the video.
Chris did amazing work.
We are, of course, looking for any of you guys who are there on the day. It would be great to share the photos. Some of you have already on our social media, which is great to see. If you've got any shots, it would be brilliant if you want to just post them to us. Maybe we'll create a link so that you guys can share those, and we can take those for another sort of album of
best 8 get posted a Christmas card signed by RPM. It's extremely corny, but that's what's funny about it. So you're going to get an RPM Christmas card signed by the lads, the top 8 photographs shared of the day. So we've already had quite a number shared already, which is cool of you. Speaking of prizes, lads, how many prizes did we hand out on the day? Fiona says, okay, so that table of prizes there just is an enormous, like, so many sponsors of the show just give so many bits and pieces. And it just got to the point that we were with various games. If someone said something cool or did the right thing, stick your name in the hat, and you got to win these enormous prizes and hampers at the end. But this is the day-to-day handing out of prizes. We needed full-time people just to do that. So I felt like people really walked away with a feeling like it was a pretty good. Some of them got a good haul. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, they did.
It was great. Yeah, I enjoyed that bit.
Sally T. Especially.
She got a year's worth of Paleo Ridge food for her dogs, and she was like it was Christmas Day. And so a big shout out to Carnley, the bone broth people, Lara, she's great, and to Dogs First. Did you? Were you a sponsor, or you just a hanger on?
I did. Not only did I give out a book, but or 2 or 3, but I gave out a thing of supplements, a thing that somebody made. That's all Karen. Karen just puts all that together for me. So good. And who else was there? There was worm count stuff. There was Dermadog, beautiful Dermadog. Pro Dog. I mean, everybody gave out something.
Raw.
Nutravet gave out a number of big supplements. Vermex hit us. There was just loads. I'm hoping we're not forgetting anybody there. I'm going to look at the list actually while you guys are talking, just in case.
I'm just trying to think. From the stage, it was Vermex. No, Vermex was just there, and then Nutravet was just kind of around the corner.
Yeah.
Who else was towards the right, on the right hand side?
Naturavet, the food company.
Naturavital. Yeah,
that's it.
Yes, they were there on the left hand side.
Honey's gave out pack of treats to absolutely everybody. Lucillin gave out a supplement to absolutely everyone. There was one for everyone in the audience.
Oh, of course, because there was that amazing moment with the hat, wasn't there, Conor?
Well, yeah, when the hat fell off my hand. I thought I broke the hat. That was not good. That's everybody. And we also had Benefit as well. I think, did we have Benefit? Not quite sure if we did or not.
I think they gave us something. Maybe did Bags, was it?
Don't know.
I think they did. Yeah. So thank you to Greg.
So many prizes given out. I think the next year I think maybe like when they come in, they're going to get like an RPM goodie bag and just like, stuff it full of things. And it becomes the thing that you want, the RPM goodie bag, So anyway, yeah. So thanks to all the helpers that were handing those things out. We had the cats on them, Bren. You were up there with Julianne and
Amaya. Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see them. I mean, we tried to make it a little bit more about preparing your house for Christmas for your pets generally, not just cats, but obviously we love cats too. So we had to bring them in, and great to see the audience with, over half of them, also owning cats. In that arena. So we did wonder whether there'd be mostly dog owners, but no, it was great to see cat lovers too. And I didn't know that Nick had 3 cats. Did anybody know it? Would anybody thunk it that Nick would have had 3 cats as well as 3 lurchers,
3 sight hounds? That's not usually a great combination.
I'm sorry, I'm being a bit disingenuous to poor old Bluebell. They're not lurchers. They're wonderfully.
They're not. They're a bit more. Yeah, a bit more picturesque than the average lurcher, of which we now have one, and he's an absolute tearaway. But he's lovely. He's got a very kind heart. But he's
something. He's 5 months old is what he is. He's a 5-month-old lurcher.
Yeah, he's a hooligan. He's lovely boy. But we do have 3 cats. But so we live very, very into the same area as Ellie's mother-in-law. She actually has the 2 kittens. But we look after the kittens, and her mother-in-law looks after the dogs. So while we were in Manchester for the live, she was looking after the whole lot, and they all lived in the same house together, and they all survived the weekend. All the cats, all the dogs, brilliant, in the same house. Can you? And the children too, and 2 extra children. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. So it was great just to go through a bit about that. I think that's part of the videos. You can understand a little bit more about, making your home Christmas ready. We may even launch that a little bit before Christmas so that people.
Yeah, I'd like to hope so. But scared
so we should be able to get that out as a post separately, just for a limited time, so that people have got that on a Feline Friday before Christmas. And then we went into a roundup, but very much we then went into Q&A, didn't we? I think Q&A was really interesting post lunch. We did a
roundup, and we had read out pocket questions that were staged for us, where Fiona started scoring us on how well we were doing during the day.
Yeah,
that score was rigged. It was turned out in the end Fiona cheated upon my request and put me in the middle. I absolutely knew I was going to lose, but
no.
Thompson won.
Thompson won with glorious colours.
Yes, he did.
When did she start scoring us? But when did she start scoring? From after lunch?
I don't know. From the start of that.
No, it was before. It was that after the cats.
Yeah, read out the questions. Remember, guess how many millions of something, and guess the thousands of something, and cut up the kidney into little bits. My kidney didn't go into half. I couldn't cut it in half. I thought I had a joke knife because it just wouldn't cut.
They only counted 16 pieces on mine. It was obliterated.
16.
It was like.
So still wasn't, something was wrong with my knife until I thought it was just, this whole thing is a setup. Same with when we played Mr. and Mrs. and we were holding up the flags, and the first few questions were definitely not me, and I thought this is a setup. Every single question is going to be the lads and not me. But then I enjoyed that Mr. and Mrs. That was funny, where you're holding up the was that Mr. and Mrs.? It is, yeah. They called it Doctor and Doctor. I love that. That was funny.
But you forgot Eggheads, of course.
Eggheads was great. Yeah. So I had the 3 of us against 6 contestants that we picked from the audience. And that was great. So the way the game was set up was like, let's say, boys' names. And it's like, I go, and I go, Bob, and someone goes, Henry, and you throw the mic back, but you only got a couple of seconds to answer. That was funny stuff, because it was like organs of the body and all raw kind of orientated stuff. And then, and actually to set up the questions, was it, oh no, actually
it was all the greats. So Karen Becker and Ian Billinghurst and Lisa Hansen.
Julie
so we had
Morgan.
all the great.
Yeah.
All the great. Yeah, Julie Morgan.
Yeah.
And
Mark
so
Roberts
many,
even made an appearance.
Even he with his dogs.
He did. Yeah, he texted me.
And Matt, we had Matt back, didn't we?
Yeah.
So,
Matt Muir. Thank you, Matt.
Mark Roberts actually messaged me there the other day. You know, he's running in February in this enormous
the
what's the name? Is it the Iditarod?
American?
He's not doing
Iditarod.
Yeah, it's not that one. It's the or maybe it is. I think he's going to be the first. It's Fuel by Fat is what he's calling it. Siberian Husky team, all raw fed, and he said, well, most of them are 75% kibble, 25% fat. He's going to be on all raw. And so he's going to analyze the hell out of them as he's doing it. So that'll be a really good talk to get him on after to hear what he learned. One of the only Siberian Husky teams in the world doing this, and then surely the only raw fed one. You know, so he says when he gets to the events, he's a bit of a show. People would turn up to look at what Siberian Huskies look, because they just have mutts. They don't keep Siberian Huskies. So he uses the original. He's a real purist, but as a result, it's much harder work. It's not. You're not trying to win the race, you're trying to complete it, you know, because the mutts are used for a reason. They're perfectly bred for the situation, you know, and they're kind of a hybrid of all sorts of hounds, even a bit of greyhound, bit of husky, bit of all sorts. So you know. So
I'm reading some of the comments, mate. It's like one of your answers, parts of the body, toes.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? Chicken toes, I tried to say. I couldn't get the words out. But then I talked to chickens have toes. I'm sure they do.
And then they said, you've forgotten one of the vital question askers. Your wife.
Oh yeah, that's I hope
you said thank you to
her. Thank you, Elaine.
Yes, thank you, Elaine.
Yeah, she was nervous. How did I do? How did I come across? It's like, Elaine, you run 100 people. What are you talking about? Yeah, how did you come across? When have you ever wondered that? You know, it's like, oh, just a video. And and then Fiona's been texting her now since. They've been texting each other, and Fiona sent her a picture of Fiona of Elaine up on the screen, and she's like, oh, nearly barfing. She was so mean. Yeah, it's great. But anyway, that was good, and it was good meeting everyone afterwards as well. After all the games and stuff, and we were having a chat, but even afterwards, we had a few drinks. We had a little drinks reception. That was fun. That was who did that?
Thank you, Vermex for the
drinks.
For sponsoring that.
Prosecco and beers. We get to sit around chatting to everyone, and how cool is that? That's the best hour and a half of the day, really, getting to talk to everyone. And by 7 o'clock, then we're ushered out the door and off to where did we go? Went to a Mexican restaurant, didn't we? And it was an experience. So that was
this is not the first time Nick has booked a restaurant for us guys, and
that's great.
And we've looked at each other and gone,
never again.
Yeah. But it did the job.
It was entertaining.
It was entertaining.
And
I had tequila, and who cares?
I'm glad to see that you're actually still alive after crawling on that floor, Conor.
Oh, yeah. Never needed a wee so badly. And I was trapped because the table was a rectangle, but there was too many people there, and I couldn't get out. And I was in a white shirt, but I had to get out underneath the tables. There were benches, so like if it was chairs, you could squirrel out between them. But I had to get under the table, and then I realized I was kind of stuck because it was benches, so I had to go through legs, you know, at the start of dinner. It's not that, you know, that sort of stuff is forgivable at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, but
on one of those slightly sticky floors.
Oh, yeah. It was, but I managed to keep my shirt clean, which I was very proud of. But that was great. It was a great night. I didn't want to go on Sunday. Didn't want to go. I just, you can't beat it. It's good crack just sitting around talking to the gang. You can't beat it.
Yeah. So do you think you do it again?
Yeah,
it's too soon. It was too tiring.
Raw. Yeah, that was. We put a huge amount of effort into that. Like as much we did. While we definitely made it clear on the day that, like, you know, it was amazing getting together and stuff. It takes a lot of work to put that together. And I mean, Fiona took the absolute horse. Yeah, of course.
Of it. Yeah.
But even the small little things we put in, like even like you're shooting a video for calling people to their seats, right, guys? You've 1 minute. Let's go. You're going to your seats. All that pre-recorded stuff has to be done and thought out. All the imagery, your talks. Promoting it took a lot of work. You're constantly promoting it to get the bums on seats. Saturday is a tough time to get people out because a lot of our followers are small business owners, groomers, veterinary nurses. Hard to get them out. And also, we picked a city centre where there's no car park spaces. And I just thought, like, these are little things you learn the first time. But what we were aiming for was a thank you to our followers. Like we didn't charge bugger all for the tickets, although people will think that. But listen, half the money is spent on food and coffee alone. That's why you don't get dinners at these things. But we put out food, coffee, biscuits all through the day, drinks for sale. All that is part of. We wanted it to be an experience as a thank you for people. So I think we definitely achieved that, and so I feel great now. I feel great now to write the other side of it. But I thought it was a lot of work. It wouldn't be a. I found it quite a lot, but I feel great now this side of it.
And if we did it again, December is not the best time to do it. It's cold. People have got to travel when the weather's not good, and it's quite close to Christmas. We deliberately kept it on the first weekend, but it's just getting into that. My God, we're so busy. I think next summer, if we're going to do it at all, maybe next summer.
Ooh, a summer one. Summer
hot. Summer party.
Vegas. Great. Good idea, Nick.
Sorry, is offering it's a summer barbecue. We're going to just go camping in a field. There'll be plenty of parking.
Let's go to Vegas.
Let's go camping. Boys,
camping.
Let's go camping.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
It'd be really cheap. We'll just put up a marquee for a couple of days.
Kind of like a Great British Bake Off, Great British Raw Off. That'd be
Brady can have a Winnebago. Brendan and I will camp properly, like real men.
Today won't stay
under a piece of carbon camera.
And you guys be boasted about being natural, and I'll go, I had a shower, so enjoy your natural scent. I'm off to put on my Badidas or whatever it's called. No, what's that stuff you put in the bath?
Badidas in the bath and Adidas
on your
body refresh spray on your armpits.
Really sorry to reach back, but if we're talking about summer camping, we ain't doing Scotland.
No, we're not. The midges.
We're not getting bitten to death by midges.
Karen was eaten alive this year, eaten alive by these things. She went up in the mountains.
That could be one of the points challenges.
That's a good idea.
Who can survive outside for 30 seconds?
There's pictures of army lads in the worst part of Scotland, wherever this is, with the midges. And the challenge is to take the mask off your face and stand there for a minute and try to take it for a minute. That's how many of them there is. And put them. He was in agony after 30 seconds. I think, my God, that doesn't sound like a summer. I'm sure that's only some parts of Scotland, because I have never seen midges in Scotland. It's always been fine the times I've been there. There was quite a few Scottish people there, actually. On Saturday night, we're surrounded by Scots. Ali Cox and our buddies. It was cool.
Rachel Mack.
Rachel Mack is Scottish.
Louise, she hails from Scotland.
Oh yeah, a lot of Scottish followers. There you go.
Fiona's a little reminder. We haven't even talked about Art Recreate yet.
Oh yes, that we need to put up those slides as well. I think we need to show them to people and show the effort that people went to. I'll create a little video of the entries just to show what some people managed to achieve there. That was just cool.
It was spectacular. Okay, so we've got Lisa
Martina says we've got to say hi to Martina.
Martina from the USA.
Yes, we've got something special for you, as you didn't make it over, but you did buy a ticket. Just hats off to you. Thanks for the support. And she says Las Vegas would just be perfect.
There you go. Martina's happy.
So Martina, if you can arrange that for next summer.
Martina, PM us your address there. Let us send you over a Christmas card. We can. That's the least we can do. So do that. Guys,
don't post it on this. Just DM us.
PM us.
Otherwise, you'll get.
So that was the roundup. I think probably. Would you do it again, Bren? What would you think?
I would, and we've got lots on next year. I think there's lots of projects we want to do, which is going to be great. I'm really looking forward to a lot of those, and I think it's just fitting it in, isn't it? We need a group of people, because let's hats off to Fiona for what she did. I think she would even say that there need to be a group of people that were set the task. So you know, maybe we need a group of people to put themselves forward to sort of shepherd that little one across the line.
I think Chris and Fiona. There you go, done. I've just volunteered your wife. Fiona and Ellie and Elaine. I'll get Elaine on side and she can do it.
Oh, is that right? The four of them.
There you go.
Boys, the thing is,
notice it takes one more of them to look after three of us. It's like,
yeah, it does.
If we go camping, everyone can bring their dogs.
They could.
Sold.
They could.
That'd be chaos.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. You'd be talking, you'd be as you're talking, the dogs just be howling. No, we can't have that. No, sorry, Nick.
Yeah.
You imagine you with your peacocks walking around, your cats and everything, it would just be an absolute shock.
I could bring my goats. Hey!
Yeah.
Bertie the alpaca stood next to Nick. It'd be like,
yeah. Do you ever go to the dog shows? Do you ever get to dog shows when the dogs are walking around? And it's like, the problem with the dog shows is that they're always tight. It's always really busy, and they've got the rings, and then there's people with their tables, and there's hardly any space for the poor old dogs. And I always find the dogs are a little bit on edge in that situation. It's not the most. I mean, it's hardcore to put a dog into a situation where there could be another 50, 100 dogs around. Do you not think so? I can only see Dudley having an absolute meltdown walking around the place, you know?
And that's the thing. There are some dogs which would cope with it, and there are other dogs which would just not be able to.
You don't have to bring your dog. I think that's
you don't have to. No, it's not
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
It's the table with you, because there'll be 10 other dogs around it.
yeah, totally. Massive St. Bernard walking across the tables, just eating the chicken, you know? Yeah, still, it's not a bad idea, actually. It's not bad. Right, well, let's see. We'll kick around and we'll see what people. Let's see what the people come up with. Guys, make your recommendations in the comments below. That's what people say in these social media things. So yeah, make your comments below, guys, and let's see. Actually, ideas for the next one. While it's fresh, you know, obviously we couldn't improve on anything in that one. That was just a perfect show you're after receiving. So, but if there's any ideas that you think you saw at other shows and things that we can offer out, I mean, we're very interested in hearing.
Please shout.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. I think that's a decent rounding. 55 minutes. I think. Yeah, good luck. Shorten it down, Pete. Well done. Yeah. So what's next week, lads?
Lisa Hanson.
Oh, excellent. Very cool.
To talk more. Everybody wanted more about hormones and neutering and the implications, and just going into a little more detail. And so she is back by popular request. So
neutering alternatives.
Really good.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good. All right, lads. Cheers for that, chaps.
I think we're good. We're not going to do Patreon tonight, guys, because we've been doing a lot over the weekend. But we do. Thank you very much.
Patreon people, watch out on Patreon. There's going to be a few little video snips that we'll stick up from the weekend that we probably won't make it to the final cut of
in Patreon.
Sort of fun stuff. So we're going to give you some extra snippets. Okay.
Sounds
brilliant.
Cool, lads. All right.
Amazing.
Thanks all.
Take care, everybody. Thank you.